All right, check out our new sponsor, Greenwood Stocks. They want you to know how to be able to trade stocks and be your own boss and be free to travel the world by making passive income. We all need that passive income from stock market. What are you waiting for? Call or text 281-760-3170. If you didn't catch that, that's on your screen. Or check them out at social media, Greenwood Stocks, and catch them at Gmail, greenwoodstocktrading at Gmail, and the YouTube channel is Greenwood Stocks. Appreciate them for giving me the opportunity. Check them out. We out. All right, they're saying the Brooklyn Nets remain favorite to win the title, but now underdogs in the series versus Miami. Let's talk about it. Check out the NBA Talk playlist for more videos like this. Say injuries to Kyrie Irving and James Harden have flipped the odds on Brooklyn versus the Milwaukee Bucks Eastern Conference playoff series, putting the sportsbook in a unique position where the current favorite to win the NBA title is not an underdog in the conference semifinal. The Bucks tied series 2-2 with a 107-96 victory Sunday over the Nets. In Game 4, Kyrie left the game and did not return after suffering an ankle injury in the second quarter. And Harden has not played since injuring his hamstring early in Game 1. With the uncertain status of the two Nets stars, sportsbooks have made Milwaukee the favorite in the series. The Bucks are as high as a negative 150 favorites in this series. Brooklyn sits around plus 120 underdog. That means if you bet, you have to bet 150 for Milwaukee for you to win 100 on Milwaukee. If you bet 100, you win 120 on the Brooklyn Nets right now. But the Nets remain the favorites to win the Eastern Conference and NBA Championship at Caesar Sportsbooks by William Hill. Brooklyn is a plus 155 to win the Eastern Conference, ahead of the Bucks plus 175 and plus 260 to win the NBA title, ahead of the Jazz plus 325. Okay, the philosophy is if they can overcome injuries in the short term against the Bucks, they will be well placed long term and win the championship. Jason Scott, Vice President of BetGM, told ESPN, however, if they both are ruled out long term, those future markets will change. It's very fluid right now. At the Caesars William Hill, the Nets were commanding negative 440 to favorites over the Bucks after winning the first two games. A week later, the injury-riddled underdogs. Okay, Nets coach Steve Nash said after Sunday's game, X-rays on Kyrie's ankle were negative, but the Stars' availability for Tuesday's Game 5 is uncertain. Harden also is questionable for a Tuesday game in Brooklyn. Harden has been doing on the court work recent days, according to Steve Nash, but his ability for Game 5 is unknown. Sunday, the Bucks have been installed as a 3-point favorites in Game 5. Jeff Sherman, who oversees NBA odds at the Superbook at Westgate, Las Vegas, expects Game 5 line to move more closer if Harden were to clear the play. We're expecting to see Milwaukee in the money, especially with those guys announced out. Sherman said, my thing is, it is what it is. Injuries are part of the game, especially today. You know, you can make the analogy that, you know, today's players are just like today's cars, fragile and plastic. Okay, you know, the old school players like the old cars, tough, rugged, and made out of money. Made out of money, having a long day, and made out of steel. Excuse me. But at the same time, it is what it is. The question is, will they come off those injuries healthy enough? And I thought I favored Philadelphia over them, but I kind of got scared because Philly hadn't been looking impressive versus Atlanta, but they started to come on. But, you know, at the same time, this is part of sports. This is why the NFL, you know, it is one of the major reasons the NFL is on top. You know, we just talked about that today, that remember in the NBA should put triple headers on Sunday and then give a hell if the NFL was on TV or not. That's just where that's where we are at it. These fragile players are making the NBA a little bit more interesting, you know. But also the super teams have made it a lot less interesting. And Brooklyn didn't even need James Harden. You know, that's just a fact. Brooklyn didn't need James Harden. That was overkill. And they downplayed it the whole beginning of the season, before the season, and they got him, and now he injured. You know, somebody historically who didn't show up in critical playoff moments, especially the second round and beyond. I wouldn't be banking on James Harden coming back. Really, you need Kyrie, the closer. If they had Kyrie last night, they would have won the game. They had Kyrie for the series, they would have won the game. You know, the Nets, traded depth for superstar. I mean, they didn't even need depth. We all know James Harden history in the playoffs, and it ain't good. So I would prefer, if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, the Philadelphia 76ers, I would prefer Kyrie Irving play more than James Harden, because James Harden gonna come in and melt down. But that's what Brooklyn get. And everybody saying, well, we get to Kevin Durant. Everybody saying, where Kevin Durant at? It ain't like LeBron ain't get his ass beat by the Cavaliers. He lost. Just honestly. You asking the brother who came off Achilles injury to carry the team, but we wait. But, you know, Milwaukee, their biggest problem in this series, they were trying to match firepower with Brooklyn. They were trying to shoot as many threes as Brooklyn. That's not gonna happen with or without James Harden. With Kyrie and Kevin Durant, they better shooters than anybody. And they refuse to put Giannis on the block and let Giannis work out. And maybe that's a Giannis thing. You know, maybe Giannis don't want to go on the block. There's more players than anything. But if Giannis don't get his big ass on that block, they're not winning the championship regardless. He ain't got to shoot a jump shot. He ain't got to shoot a three-pointer. If he can post up and hit that little 10 to 15 footer and have a complete repertoire post move, Milwaukee will be all right. You know, but remember, Middleton is a glorified role player. People don't think about that. Middleton is a glorified role player. What I mean by that is most role players play good at home. When you go out on the road, that's to separate role players from superstars. You know, when you look at Giannis, he going to have his number. If they win by 20, if they win by 55, they lose by 20, he going to have his numbers. Middleton is a glorified role player because he show up at home, but he don't show up on the road. And that's the biggest issue when you talk about Middleton. For Middleton to be considered a solid, a perennial all-star, he has to show up on the road. He has to show up at the crib. And that's been the biggest issue with Middleton is, you know, when he ain't at the crib, the defense ain't as good, the scoring not as good, the shooting not as good. That's the biggest problem with Middleton. If Middleton showed up at the crib, okay, as well on the road, Milwaukee probably be closing it out tomorrow night. That's the biggest thing. And that's what separates role players from stars. Stars play well anywhere. Nevada, Alaska, Antarctica, China, they play good anywhere. Role players play good at home. And if you're lucky, they give you a couple games on the road where they get hot. That's the difference. And honestly, I'm going for the Suns to win it. I'm not like Charles Barkley, and we'll talk about that later, going against the Nets. But we'll talk about that in this video. I'm not like Barkley, but then again, I just prefer to see Chris Paul get a ring. But, you know, looking at it overall, I think they right with the injuries. And the money line can change. If James Harden and Kyrie say they're playing tonight and they 100%, the money gonna be easily on Milwaukee. But it's critical. It's critical for Milwaukee to win tonight. Milwaukee win tonight and put the Brooklyn Nets in a must-win situation, and they bring back James Harden, he gonna choke. You know, and Kyrie probably gonna rush back and ain't 100%. It's very imperative. It's very, very imperative for them to really win Game 5. Whenever the next Game 5 is, it's very important for them. It's very, very important for them to win Game 5. Excuse me. It's important. If they don't win Game 5, you might as well, it's a wrap. They're losing. So, you know, like I said before, Giannis should be guarding KD if he ain't giving you nothing offensively. The NBA just hard to watch. It's soft. You see Jokic get a joke ejected last night. It's just really, really hard to watch for people who watched it in the 90s and previous to the 90s. But, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, people want Kevin Durant to carry the load and compare him to LeBron. And we know we talking about LeBron fanatics. And they like LeBron carried the team and won a championship, you know, just on his merit. LeBron fans are the absolute worst. That's a fact. LeBron fans are the absolute worst. You know, when he lose somebody, they always want to play compare. Well, Kevin Durant not playing well. Kevin Durant not doing this. Kevin Durant not doing that. My thing to them is just shut the hell up and watch the game. Or don't watch because LeBron not there. LeBron got the worst fans. Jordan fans, probably people talking about Jordan fans, they not. Jordan fans is not as bad as LeBron fans. They might wear his clothes, get all his shoes, even the haters get his shoes, but they not worse. But at the end of the day, you expecting Kevin Durant, when they lose his top superstars, to take that roster to the championship? Get out of here, man. Coming off a blown Achilles. Tell y'all one. Then Charles Barkley topped in and said that he rooting against him. He like Durant, great kid, but that's natural. Is to root against the alpha team. America is an underdog. Is an underdog story lover, so I'm not surprised. Most people rooting against Brooklyn. Obviously because they're a super team, non-LeBron fanboys or active LeBron fanboys. But like I said before, I mean, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think about the video. Check the NBA Talk playlist out. Don't forget me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out anytime. All the social media links in the description. Twitter's the fastest way than Facebook and Instagram. If you want to advertise your business on channel, video request, chop it up, links there. Want to make a financial donation, Cash App, CJ Good 313. That's the description. PayPal link there as well too. Best way to donate, share the video, subscribe, thumbs up the video, check out the NBA Talk playlist. Let me know what you guys think. One time for the one time. Goodfellas Sports TV. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Peace.